Welcome to Ethan Hahn Plus, the podcast where dreams take center stage. On this show, we're all about spotlighting the incredible talents and passions of everyday people. Whether you're an aspiring artist, a person of faith, or simply someone with a story to tell, this podcast is your platform. So sit back, relax, and get ready to meet some extraordinary individuals. Because here at Ethan Hahn Plus, everyone has a chance to shine. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Ethan Hahn Plus, the podcast you listen to while you eat your pancakes, while you eat your French toast, while you eat your waffles. Breakfast. Okay, for lunch, while you eat your burgers, while you eat your hot dogs, while you eat your grilled cheese. Lunch. No, we're going into dinner. While you eat your filet mignon, while you eat your while you eat your tomato soup, your Chef Boyardee, while you eat your dinner Lunchables, because you can clearly see that's the type of diet I eat. Everyone, we got a great episode here. Again, it's Ethan Hahn Plus podcast. Hey, we've been doing pretty good with episodes, getting them out weekly at this point. At this point, I just came back from Disney World, so I'm Mickey'd up, I'm magicked up, I'm Epcotted up. I just came from parks. Now I'm trying to bring that magic back here to Delaware and just spread it with the guests that come on the show because we're here to do a podcast. That's a Mickey impression. The shirt I'm wearing right now is Star Wars, and I wore it for Galaxy's Edge. But hey, enough about me. Let's pass it over to our guest today, who's a special guest. We haven't seen each other in a while. She was on Spam-A-Lot, for those of you who did see Spam-A-Lot here in Delaware. If not, you missed out on a great show. We put together a really good one, a great cast of a bunch of great people, and she was one of them. Everyone, please welcome to the show, Dawn Briggs.
Hello, Ethan.
Hello. Good to see you again.
How are you? You had me at filet mignon, and then you went to Chef Boyardee, and I was like, I don't want to eat here.
It was like lowering each time, and then it's straight into Lunchables too.
I know.
Yeah.
I was like down with the filet, but then you jumped to. I was like,
and she's mentioned it as an Italian should. You're Italian.
Indeed.
Does Chef Boyardee offend you or Lunchables? Is that?
Well, I mean, it's processed Italian food.
Yeah.
It's not real Italian food.
Do you know how to make some good real Italian food?
I make really good Italian food, but my boys do not love Italian food necessarily.
Really? They don't?
No.
Oh, okay. What can you make? Just curious. Maybe next time we'll...
Stuffed shells.
Yeah.
Sausage and peppers, which Doug would eat.
Okay.
Lasagna.
Love good Italian food.
Rigatoni.
Yeah.
Chicken marsala.
There you go.
You know, chicken parm.
All the
good things.
Love it. Well, Dawn, hey, again, welcome on the show. For people who don't know you, give a quick little bio about yourself. Who is Dawn Briggs?
You know, I ask myself that every day. Who am I going to be today? I feel like I could be a schizophrenic, to be honest, given my moods.
Yeah.
You could ask my husband. No, Dawn is a 58-year-old mother, CPA, friend, and trying to get my voice back. I'm taking some singing lessons.
Okay.
I was in the technology field before I had my son, got pregnant with my son. I got married later in life. I got married when I was 32. Had Aiden when I was 35. Worked for about a decade in technology and then retired to stay home with him for a couple of years because it was important to me for him not to go into daycare until he could speak. That was just something important to me. And then I went back to work for a tax season with a public accounting firm. Stayed there 10 years and got my CPA license. And now I am a CFO for a company called Assurance Media, which is a low voltage cabling, security, and AV company. So if you have any technicians out there who are AV or security, contact me because we're hiring.
Your son, who is Aiden Briggs, has been on the show before, which is great. And he's an only child, too. We have a lot in common there. Yeah, I think me and him had kind of like the same upbringing there. Really talented kid. I mean, talented family you guys got going on here.
We were only meant to have the superstars.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, look at that. The superstars. And it's a good time. And it's funny you mentioned that, the whole daycare thing. Did you actually end up putting him in daycare eventually?
We did for about a year.
Okay.
Only like a couple hours a day.
My parents kind of had this philosophy too, where it was like, don't put them in a daycare, because they felt like I was going to get influenced by other kids. Because we've seen it done. I mean, not every kid is the same, but we've seen it through either family friends' kids or family members where they went through daycare and it ended up being really rowdy or something like that. And for me, I was a very calm kid. I don't know how Aiden was, if he was calm too, but I was very,
most part.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think you just want your child to grow up with similar values as you.
Yeah.
And then teach them how to discern who they want to be, because maybe there's values that we have that Aiden doesn't align with, and that's okay.
Yeah.
As long as he's kind and
exactly. Good people.
good to others.
Good people, yeah, good to others, and just a good person. And so we all kind of met too through, again, the theater world. And I kind of want to get into this a little bit. Me and Dawn know each other, as I mentioned before, through Spam-A-Lot at the Everett Theater.
Right.
And that was that last year, 2023? Ending of last year? A year ago, right?
Was it just a year ago?
I think it was a year ago.
I thought it was 2 years.
Was it 2 years ago, or am I just going
No,
crazy?
you're right. A year.
Was it just a year
I'm literally
ago?
looking at the program right now.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Oh
you're
yeah,
right.
it was. It was last year.
Time
and
just feels like it's flying by.
it was literally October. Wait, quite literally a year ago. We did the last show. That's actually crazy. Wow. So it's our 1 year anniversary of Spam-A-Lot. Let's put it that way.
I miss that show so much. That was so much fun.
That was truly a blast. And again, it was my first time kind of meeting you and Doug. And of course, Aiden hopped on eventually later. I'd love to know, what's kind of your acting background? What kind of led you guys to Spam-A-Lot at that point? And I would love to know kind of where you're at now with it. So kind of give me your acting timeline, or as a whole family, or as yourself, as a performer. How did you get into it, and how did you get to where we met and where you're at now?
So when I was younger, not a lot of people know this because I only was in the band for a couple weeks, but I was a singer in a band.
Okay.
In early high school, sophomore year-ish around, just for a couple weeks, and then I didn't end up doing it anymore. And then I got involved in theater in high school. I was very much interested. And then I did a little bit in college, but when I was auditioning for something in college, this is where I think words matter, and you never know what kind of influence you might have on someone. When I was rehearsing to go to audition, somebody came in there and said to me, somebody who I felt highly of at the moment, in hindsight, it was not good to follow him, but he was like, "Why are you auditioning? Your voice is terrible." Now, my voice is very different now because I had some thyroid issues. And so my voice is much lower than what it used to be. I used to be a soprano. And I had a pretty voice. I wouldn't say it was beautiful or anything, but it was pretty. I could hold my own. I could sing. But that really impacted me a lot. And I kind of flubbed that audition and kind of never really got back on stage again until Doug and Aiden started doing stuff. And then I kind of was feeling left out. So I decided to get back into it a little bit. And then when Spam-A-Lot came along, so I grew up, I'm going to date myself now, in the 70s and 80s. And we used to listen to WMMR, and Always Look on the Bright Side was the song of Always of the Day to end, his whatever 4-hour gig or whatever.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I love that song, and I just grew up with it. So I was like, I want to sing that song so bad. And when I auditioned, I'll be honest with you, I didn't realize how big of a role that was in the show. Had I known that, I don't think I would have actually auditioned.
Yeah.
To be perfectly honest.
Sure. Yeah.
Because I'm somewhat self-conscious. So, yeah. So that's where I ended up.
And you did. Hey, again,
I had such fun.
It was a fun time. Again, everything came together, and you were a great Patsy. It was a great time.
It was so fun.
Yeah. Again, seeing you in the outfit was so funny too, with the coconuts and everything.
It was so fun.
Yeah, really good experience again. And it really got us connected with a lot of great people there. We made a lot of great new friends. Of course, shout out to Sam and all of them too. Good people, which they need to come on the show too. I need to eventually get them on. But
and it was great being in that, because that was such a talented pool, to be honest. To the point where we went out one night after the show and we ran into some people who had been at the show, and they were from New York, I think. And they asked us, "Hey, where are you traveling to next? Where's your production?" And we were like, "Oh, we're just community theater." And they were like, "What?" They couldn't believe it. So that was a neat compliment.
Cool little interactions like that. And again, again, it was great to again see you on there and meet you for the first time on there, because again, everyone's just so sweet and welcoming, and just seeing everyone have fun. That's what it's always about to me, is getting on stage, acting, and just turning your brains off.
Absolutely. And when you hang around people who are talented like we did, I mean, you guys were much more, I always said I was the weak link in the show, not disparaging of myself, because I was good, but not like everyone else, but my dad always said, if you want to get better at something, play with somebody who's better than you, because you'll live up to that.
I feel that same way too, because I mean, I like to sing and all, but I know by no means am I like at some sort of crazy A-class level, and Jazzy is really great at singing too, and
I've never heard her, but I like to.
oh no, she's fantastic. Like really, she's really great, and sometimes I'll always try to ask her for advice or stuff like that. And when me and her are singing, she always try to train me too. When we do little duets or performances, little places, it's always a good time. But I mean, you're saying right now too, you're taking singing lessons,
Right? Yeah, because I've never really been taught how to sing.
Sure.
I just have sung.
Yeah.
So I'm actually
Same.
taking voice lessons with somebody who's actually teaching me, how to sing and maybe to find my voice again, because I don't really know where it is anymore.
Yeah.
It's
That's
definitely
awesome.
lower than what it used to be. In fact, it's funny because we just finally got our, after 26 years, our video for our wedding matched up, because when we had somebody doing the video for us and they were recording it on cassette tape, the video had feedback. So you couldn't hear any of the sounds. So somebody had to match it up. So they matched it up for us and put it on a flash
Just
drive.
now you got that?
Just like about a year or so ago.
Get out.
So
wow.
we were playing it for Aiden, and he's like, "Mom, your voice is so high." He's like, "What happened?" And I was like, "Life happened."
Experiences and stuff like that.
He's
Yeah.
like, "Your voice sounds so different." I was like, "Yeah, that's how my voice was before."
You just talking? Or were you singing in the wedding? Or you just-
No, I
they
was
heard
just
you
talking. I was supposed to sing, but I chickened out at the last minute.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're singing today. Here, we're gonna pull it up. No, I'm kidding. No, we're not. We'll do a quick little duet here.
Here, let me get my recorder.
Yeah, that's cool though that you're taking lessons. It's just local,
fun.
like a local vocal.
No, it's actually a voice teacher that Aiden had when he was in college that I connected with and just said, "Hey, can you do it over Zoom?"
Yeah.
Because I'm kind of lazy. Like most of the voice teachers around here are like distance from my house.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I do not want to drive
I agree. Yeah, sometimes it's like
too like down to Middletown or wherever. Like I just
I noticed that for everything that's kind of like creative or artsy like that, it's always far from us. I'm like, I want something close by.
I keep telling Doug we need to find a theater and create it ourselves.
Yes, I mean you kind of mentioned that through text. Like it'd be cool to.
I really want to do that.
Like an adult theater, because I mean
Yes.
Some theaters nearby are just focusing on kids stuff.
A lot of theaters are.
Yeah, are focusing on kids stuff, and it's just upsetting.
I get it because you can. So from a business standpoint, you can rely on all the parents and grandparents
100%.
and people to come and see it, right?
Yeah.
People who are adults, you're not going to necessarily get your buddy from
Yeah.
your mom and dad may not even be alive still to come watch the show.
Yeah.
So from a business standpoint, I get the draw for that. But also I think it's important to have. I think there is a lot of talented adults in Delaware.
Yes.
And I would love to see, personally, Delaware become like a new New York City Broadway.
Yes.
And I don't know what I can personally do to help that, but I am definitely interested in pushing the arts in Delaware.
That's kind of
professionally. Professionally.
Yeah, that's kind of one of the routes I want to take with this podcast too is, again, anyone who's creative, acting, writing, whatever it is, I want to show who's here in Delaware, what kind of passions they are, and get it out there, have people share as much as they can. Because I think, I mean, not even Delaware, but I feel like everywhere, really, every state or every place that doesn't have a New York near them or an LA, there's people like us that want to do stuff, but we just don't have the connection. We don't have the people to know to do these things. And I mean, of course, we can make the drive, we can travel and stuff like that. But
it's hard,
I mean,
though, when you're not a professional actor and you don't necessarily want to be, but you enjoy it as a hobby.
Yeah.
And you're good at it. So and that's the other thing too. Like a lot of these not community theaters, but even the community theaters and even the paid ones like Candlelight, they're sort of cliquey, right? So the same people are in these shows.
Yep.
The same, because it's their friend group or whatever. Mm-hmm. And there's so much more talent in Delaware that I think sometimes the shows end up being, in my opinion, having the same look and feel, even though they're different. Yeah. Because they have the same talent, the same director, the same producers.
And that's an unfortunate truth, too, with a lot of theaters, like community theaters, I think everywhere, too, is like, of course, you're casting the people you're comfortable with, but it's like, not like you got to open up, broaden up, which a lot of theaters I will give credit to can be open to that. I mean, of course, the Everett where we went and stuff like that. Like, luckily, I didn't know anyone there at all. I was like scared. I would audition for Puffs and stuff like that. They welcomed me in. So yeah, it's one of those things where you just gotta squeeze your way through, which is unfortunately you gotta squeeze your way through. And hopefully they pick you and stuff like that. But Yeah, no, it's crazy because again, to make a theater made just for really good adult shows.
Sure.
Oh, amen.
Yeah.
Come on, someone get it going. But yeah. So you've been doing some theater stuff and stuff like that. But again, the holiday season's coming up, and we want to shout out your husband, Doug Briggs.
DelawareSanta.com.
DelawareSanta.com. Well, we can promote it. We'll put in the link down below. But he was a director of Spamalot. And of course, I mean, hopefully if he comes on in the future, we can talk to him a little more about the build up to there. But he does, and I mean, you and Aiden also help out too. You guys do like holiday events? Like
sometimes I help. So
yeah.
my big thing is sometimes he wants me to do Mrs. Claus, which I like doing, but I will say, when you're self-conscious or you're having a day where your esteem is not great, going out with Santa as Mrs. Claus, you're not necessarily embraced with open arms always like Santa is, and you're kind of excluded sometimes from pictures, from so that has to be balanced. So maybe that sounds selfish. I don't know, but I don't want to. I don't want to go out and spend a day with them when nobody really is interested in being with me. Occasionally, you'll have the child that's very scared of Santa that will come to me, and I love that because I love children. But that doesn't happen often. But Doug is really getting out there. Like, in fact, he has a commercial he's doing as Santa this Friday, actually.
Whoa.
For Comcast.
Okay.
Up somewhere in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And then he's also been called to do. So there's the Polar Express. Is that Paramount? Who owns that?
Is that Paramount? Did we
I'll look it up.
Yeah,
I think I'm not sure who it is, but anyway, the licensed Polar Express contacted him to do a couple of weekends on the train. So he'll be the Polar Express Santa.
Yeah.
So that's kind of fun.
That's like that is an experience, that Polar Express thing, right?
Yeah,
it's
like
a
whole
Polar Express experience.
Oh,
that's cool.
Yeah, it's based off the movie, licensed and everything. So
yeah.
He's going to do that this year, and he's like I said, he gets booked pretty quickly. There's a couple trains. I'm going to do one with him as a I guess a.
Have you done anything except Mrs. Claus? Yeah,
I'm going to do this year. I'm doing which I have to practice my British accent. I'm going to read The Night Before Christmas on a train as a English person.
Awesome.
So that I have to work with because I can do both accents, but I kind of move back and forth from a Cockney to a formal, and that I got to choose one, and I'm not great at that, so I have to keep practicing that.
Yeah,
so.
I love that.
So I'll be doing that this year.
At least you get to do British accent. I don't know if I'll have to show you the footage afterwards, but there's at the Everett they had me for a holiday cabaret. I was a Cajun Santa, and I had to sing "'Twas the Night Before Christmas."
Oh, that's hard.
In a Cajun accent, and I'll have to show you later. It was just silly. It was silly. It was funny. People liked it.
I'm a great mimicker. So like if you talk to me in a British accent, I will totally mimic you and talk back.
Yeah.
But on my own and creating it, I have a hard time. So
you gotta hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel that.
Yeah.
Love that. But yeah, so the holiday season's coming. That'll be a fun time. Does Aiden get involved in that too? Like, is he ever do Christmas like an elf?
He has. He was last year. He did a lot with the same company that Doug does all his Santa with. But this year he's kind of pulled away from that to do some other things. Like he has another concert coming up on it's either the 6th or the 12th of December at the Grand again. He's going to be singing, doing another concert there with the AARP people. And
the way he just asks you, he's like, hey, honey, you want to just help me out with this event? Is it just him going to you?
Sometimes I'll ask him because I'm basically a Santa widow in December. And this year, I think, to be quite frank, it's going to be really hard because Aiden gets married in November and they'll probably be moving out at that same time because they were lucky enough to get a house.
Okay.
So
that's awesome.
The house will be very quiet and so I'll be kind of lonely. And, your mom will see this when you get married, but having a son and having them get married is like a long breakup for the mom.
Sure.
Like you're everything for that child until they're self-sufficient, and then you're still getting information, and then they get a loved one, and it's how it's supposed to be. They're not supposed to come to you anymore, and they're supposed to come to them, and it's great, and I love it. But also, I don't know anything anymore, right?
Oh, yeah.
And it's okay, but it's also a little bit hard to.
Yeah, I think they're racing for it too because they know. As I tell everyone soon, me and Jazzy will be making some steps, which is going to be pretty exciting. But it's one of those. It's a life-changing thing. I mean, I'm sure. I mean, as a mom, it's a big thing. But then on even on my end, like speaking from the kids' side, like I mean, it's one of those like I'm sure Aiden's feeling the same way. It's like what's going on? Like one moment, like it just feels like I was talking to Kay earlier about playing with my Pokemon toys when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And like life really is just like you blink and like here we are. And now like, oh, marriage is a thing. Like marriage and then getting a house. Like to me before that just seemed like, oh no, like I'm never going to be able to do that. But it's like when you get older, you're like, oh, I have to think about that now.
I think God makes a way for how it's supposed to work out.
Yeah.
In all ways. Sometimes we don't like how he wants it to be worked out, but I think he'll eventually work it out for you however you deem your time is appropriate. And I think that when you're in it, it'll be stressful. But once you get over it, I think you'll be moving right along. And you'll be like, why did I wait so long?
Yeah.
And it's true. As a parent, I'm sure your mom feels this. There were some days where were really long raising you kids. And then the years were like, poof, what happened? How's it 23 years later?
Yeah. I kind of liked where you're going there, of course, with everything with God's plan and everything that, because one of the points here I wanted to ask you about is, of course, you're a person of faith. You guys are a family of faith too. If we can dive into a little bit, I mean, like, I was curious because when we were doing spam a lot, I think I kind of learned that about you too, and maybe a few other people, like, you know, I mean, Dante especially, like, to learn of, you know, people who are of faith and Christian, being in theater and stuff like that. To kind of bond like that, we would pray before the show, which was always a very comforting thing to do to make sure everything goes well, of course. I would love to know, like, I mean, like, kind of your personal journey with God and like stuff like that. Did you grow up in the faith and stuff like that?
So I was raised, my dad was Catholic. My mom came from a Presbyterian background. She converted to Catholicism when they got married. So I had a very unique Catholic upbringing. Although I will say, I think the Catholic Church in the United States is very different from like a Filipino that has like some mysticism, or Mexico that has mysticism that are like, they more so can worship idols and things like that. Like I never thought about like a saint statue being an idol. I never thought about Mary being an idol. So I kind of was raised with a combination I call Catholic, right? So my mom would say when we went, you know, she'd explain communion to us. She would explain when we went to get confirmed, she said, this is you taking on, you know, that you believe Jesus was the Son of God, that he died for your sins, and that he would have done it if you were the only one here. So if you don't believe that, don't take the steps to go through that. So we all all but one of my siblings went through confirmation based on that knowledge. And then I had a friend who was going to a Baptist church that used to bring me. She was a great friend. And I learned a lot more about the Bible, and because I think the Baptist church is better at teaching the word than the Catholic church.
It's more like
you're
in it. Yeah,
I do think they focus on different things. Like everybody was telling me, well, Catholics thinks it's by works, and I say, well, not exactly. If you don't have the works, they say you don't have the faith, right? Which is probably true. My mom used to say, if it walks like a duck and acts like a duck, it's a duck. If it walks like a duck and says it's a swan, it's probably a duck, right? You can say you're a Christian, but your actions will really tell people. God said they'll know you by your works, not by what you say.
Yeah.
A lot of people can say they believe, but how you treat others may challenge that aspect. So, like, I just seen God's faithfulness over the years. And in hindsight, it's easy to see. It's tougher to go through.
Yeah.
And I've also found that God already knows your angry feelings towards him. So you might as well confess them. Like David was very brazen about how he felt in cases. And he sometimes didn't do great things, but God always talks about him as being a man after God's own heart. So we're not meant to be perfect. If we could be, even after we become a believer, if we could have been perfect, God never would have had to die, right?
Yeah.
So I joke with my husband that I see in the church. I don't go to church now because there's a lot of hypocrisy there. And I find myself focusing on that, including myself. I'm not taking myself out of that mix. So that kind of bothers me a lot. And I feel like people are more critical of the sin they think they might not ever be guilty of.
Ooh, man, dropping some good stuff there. No, I think that you're preaching right there is a lot of our prayers, and of course, I mean, it's God's plan ultimately, but a lot of our prayers will get answered not in the ways we expect it. It can either happen right away, or it can happen like years from now.
Sure.
It's a matter of just being patient, or there'll always be like things will happen that will lead you to what you actually want ultimately.
Right.
And it's going to be like a rough journey. I think that's one of the biggest things I've been learning the past few years is like I've had a lot of blessings, like answered prayers in my life that, again, the whole, was it last year? No, 2022 or it was 2020. The year 2022 was where I really got to see God and like know Him and stuff like that, because I just prayed a lot and a lot of things were just happening in my life that were life changing. And yeah, ever since then, like it's one of those, like after having that relationship, it's like it's just a personal thing. That's what I'm learning for myself. Is like it's a personal thing for me and God there. And my life has, like, with this relationship and with a new lens, it's like my life has just been more positive and positive things have been happening. Again, I love the way you said it too. By no means was being a Christian or having a relationship with God means you're gonna have a perfect life by any means.
No.
Like I think that's what a lot of people will always assume is like, oh, why do you think you're so perfect? We don't. Arguably, for all of us who either believe in God or church, we feel like we're not, and we still aren't. That's why we're at church.
We know how evil we are.
Yeah.
And my life verse, I went through a class called Design for Discipleship about how to disciple other people, and you pick a life verse, and one of the life verses I picked at the time I was single, and I was not happy about it. Like I was 29 years old, and I was sad. I was alone. All my friends were married. And I picked this scripture reference, delight thyself in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart. But in studying that scripture, I learned that it's not really that He'll give you the desires of your heart, but He will change your heart if it's not what He wants for you. So you may have a desire, but I think when you delight in the Lord and you're walking with Him, He'll change your desire to something that He desires you to have. And fortunately, I had a lot of lovely ladies praying for me, and I actually met my husband a year later once that class was over. So I think God had a lot for me to learn at that time.
Yeah.
And in hindsight, it was all perfect.
Yeah.
It's easy to see how perfect it was in hindsight.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't like some things, but
yeah, there's gonna be a lot of things.
His plan is perfect. Like the fact that I wasn't able to have more kids. Like I longed to be a mom more than anything else in my life.
Yeah.
From the time my mom brought my little brother Mark home from the hospital, and I was 7, he was baby. Like I was like, this is what I want to be a mom. I want to have many kids, and that was a tough pill for me to swallow. Not having more than just Aiden. However, I know He has another plan somewhere to fulfill that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
No, it's powerful stuff, and it's just like, it's quite literally I always tell Jazzy this is like a funny thing. It's like quite literally just Jesus take the wheel and stuff like that. It's just like, hey, I'll sit back and relax with you learning, but prayer. I think prayer is one of the biggest things I've mentioned on the podcast before, and to everybody is like, if you pray, I've been telling my cousin that, who's I think curious about faith as well. I'm like, just pray. And of course, one of the questions is, oh, but like, when do I expect it to be answered? I'm like, that's in God's timing. You got to wait. But all I can say is I've seen the proof. A lot of people I know have seen the proof. And as long as you have the faith, that's why it's called faith. Speaking of we're touching a little bit on faith there, and of course, God's plan. You've had a journey in your life, of course, everything and right now for work, what are you doing? Where has God left you? That's the segue I was trying to go for. Where has God left you work-wise? Like, what are you doing right now? You're dealing with finances?
So I'm nowhere near where I thought I'd be coming out of college, right?
Okay.
So when I went into college, I majored in marketing and with a concentration in psychology and communications, because I wanted to have a shelter for abused women and children.
Okay.
So that's what my counselors suggested I focus on. Now, I'm obviously not there, but I think God's plan for me has been very different. At the time, my college professor, when I took my accounting classes for my business degree, you need to be an accountant. I was like, oh no, I'm social. I don't need to be an accountant. I don't want to crunch numbers at all. So I kind of was in insurance for a little while, and then I fell into a company called Info Systems. It was an IT company at the time. And I worked for them for a decade. And then I stayed home with Aiden for a while. And then I went back to work part-time because Doug was going to become self-employed. He was going to start his own practice with another partner. So I needed to go back to work for a little bit. So I went back part-time for a guy for just a tax season. I was just supposed to be there for one tax season, and I ended up being there 10 years and getting my CPA license at that time. And then I worked in public accounting doing tax, which is a brutal time. Tax season's brutal. People are brutal when they owe money.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
And they want to take it out on you. So my dad got ill, so I took a step back from working full time and started picking up a few bookkeeping and clients on my own. And then ended up working for a great restaurant group. And then I was kind of in a lot of places part time, and I kind of wanted a regular job. So I quit two of the restaurants from the restaurant group and went and worked for my old boss who owned Infosystems. So what happened with that is they sold Infosystems to a company called MTM Technologies, including the cabling division. And then the owners bought back the cabling division, which is now Assurance Media, and has expanded to managed services, security, AV, and cabling. And so she happened to reach out to me saying if I knew anybody in accounting. I said, well, actually, I'm kind of looking for something. I don't know what I want yet. So I kind of was waiting for Aiden to get out of school to do something full-time for myself, and fell back into work with them. And then I was still part-time at the time, and I was like, Aiden's graduating, going to move out. I'm going to get a full-time job. And I went out and interviewed and got a few offers from public accounting firms. And I went back to my boss and I said, hey, I got a couple offers. I'm probably going to take this one. And she said, wait a minute. I want you to take over as CFO. Can you give me the weekend? And so I said, okay. So she brought me back, and I was honored because she was my mentor, like my business mentor. Yeah. So it was a big honor to me to have her want me to take on a role that she had never shared with anybody else.
Sure. Yeah,
she
that's
was
awesome.
president and CFO of the company. So
yeah.
So that's where I'm at now, and I really love it. I love the people I work with. It's really hard to find. I work with a lot of women, and it's hard to find women who all get along. And it's great. I mean, there's a lot of men there too, obviously.
Yeah.
But we have like 88 employees, and we're growing, and it's a really great place to be.
That's fun. Yeah. So, okay, accountant. You know a lot about finances and stuff like that. So I'm curious because I feel like it can be a private thing, which is such an interesting thing to bring up on a podcast. But I had two questions because as a young buck trying to make his way to the future, what type of well, okay, here we go. This was ChatGPT questions that I was like, hey, I'm at this age. What are some short-term and long-term financial goals young people should consider setting up? What do you think as the accounting financial guru? This is fun because I don't think we've ever brought something up like this on a podcast. So
I'll give you a couple things.
Yeah.
So first of all, I will say as soon as you can contribute to a retirement plan, do it. If you can save $7,000 a year at your age, compounded interest will make you a millionaire by the time you're 66. Probably multimillionaire, given how the rates fluctuate. Yeah. So I calculated it for your age brand. So if you do 7,000 from here for the next 20 years, so when you're 46, you'll accumulate between, depending on the interest rate, it's averaged about 8% in the market. So I would say over the years. So I would say you're probably looking at $350,000 to $500,000. Now you compound interest that $350,000 and $500,000 with another $7,000 every year, contributing $7,000. You'll have $2.3 million when you're 66.
I've seen charts like that where it's like, I guess it's a matter of being patient too. Like I guess some of us are like now.
And there's a couple things too. Yeah. So everybody's like, well, I need my net pay. I live paycheck to paycheck. Okay. So what I would say is set a budget. And a budget doesn't mean you have to cut out the things you like. A budget just means you have to decide what you like enough that you want to put your money to, right? So first of all, when you contribute to a 401k, it lowers your tax liability. So you could contribute 1% to your 401k and probably not even see a net difference, right? Because let's say you make $10,000 a year. I'm just going to do round numbers. You contribute 1% of that. So instead of being taxed at $10,000, you're only being taxed at $9,000 if you contribute $1,000. So that could net out to very little difference. And you also definitely should do it if your company matches. You're missing a raise. And you should fully. So if they match 3%, you should be giving 3%. Because why
hold back?
Why turn down 2%?
Sure.
So it may seem hard now, but in the long run, you will not regret that decision.
See, what's funny is the predicament I'm in is I was at a job The job I'm at now. So it's funny. I was at a job from 2018 to 2022. It's a medical billing company. I was front desk social media there. And I ended up actually doing all that. The 401k, Roth IRA, I matched it and stuff like that. And I was actually able to build up a decent amount in my 401k, which was nice. But then, of course, an opportunity came my way, a podcast job. I don't know, maybe I mentioned that during spam a lot, but I worked at King of Prussia for about 2 years. And this is on me, where, and again, this is why, again, she's talking about how important it is, but it is important. My 401k thing, I had to like re-sign up, and which is not that much work to do, just to re-sign up and get the,
roll it over.
To roll it over. I just, in the 2 years I was there, I just didn't like do anything. So I think they were like, after a year you can sign up. So I probably had a year of more money getting saved up. But then, unfortunate circumstances, the job wasn't working out. The commute was crazy. I actually went back to my old job. And it's so funny. I go back there, and everyone knows me so well. I'm like family there.
Sure.
They just kind of bring me back in. And but now I have to wait a year to sign up for the 401k again. So it's another year of waiting before I can even hop back on. But it's funny. They were like, all right, well, we'll just use your account from before, but you have to wait a year until you can get the money back on. I'm like, oh, darn it.
But what I would say is you can still contribute outside of you could set up an IRA somewhere and set it up and still contribute and have a tax benefit.
It's like my own little savings.
Yeah.
You're basically.
Yeah.
You're
Well, I wouldn't give up a year of savings.
Yeah.
You can still do that with your money.
Right.
And then when you file your tax return, you just tell the government, hey, I contributed this, and they take it off your... It's just
Do I have to talk to my own bank, like PNC? Or I can go anywhere else?
You can set something up with Fidelity. And I don't know how much you make, but if you could do a Roth... Because here's the logic, right? Most people earn more money as you get older, right? So if you're in a position where you can contribute to a Roth now, you absolutely should do it, because you don't get any tax benefit now, but if you're not making a lot of money, that's not a problem.
So let me rewind, because I want to make sure I understood this part right. So you're saying, again, so since I technically have to wait a year to go to my job's 401k
You don't have to wait a year to set up an account of Fidelity and put in money.
Could they put it back onto the account that...
You can roll it over anywhere.
Really? So because the amount I already have from my job... Oh, wait, okay. I could just roll it over, you said.
So I would open your Fidelity account when you can get back into their program, and you can, I would keep all your money in one place.
Yeah.
I would roll everything that you have outside of that company plan and roll it back in.
Do I need to be like eligible? Do I need to go through something for them to be like, or it's just like, hey, I want
to set up a Fidelity account?
Yeah.
No, absolutely not. You just go do it.
Oh, good to know. Wow. All right, everyone take notes. Okay.
The other thing that I will tell you is...
Maybe people knew this. Maybe it's just me. I don't know.
No, I don't think so. I've raised Aiden to try and live off of half of everything he makes.
Smart.
Do I think that's easy to do? No. But in the long run, you will never regret that decision, because you'll have savings. You'll have... The rule of thumb for me is how we taught Aiden to save was we said, listen, right now I just have a checking account. So set your threshold where you think you're at zero in your checking account of $5,000.
Yeah.
So when you get $5,000 base in there, then set your next threshold. So my next base is going to be $7,500. And then you take that $5,000 and you move it to a savings account that gets you, right now you can get 4.5%. If you open up a 360 Capital One account, you can get 4.35%. You can do it online. You can move your money in there right now. If you don't have your money in a savings, that's a mistake right now, given what the rates are for interest. Also, I would never finance anything that is greater than what you can make in an interest-bearing account. So, for example, if you can finance a car, I don't have a problem with financing things. First, what I'll say is I think it's better to save for big purchases and not buy on credit. And here's why. There's a couple caveats to that, and I'll explain that in a minute. When you save for a big investment, when you go to make that investment, you'll know with certainty whether you want to waste your money on that or not. Because a lot of times we're like the microwave generation where we want instant gratification. There's a car I want, I'm going to go get it. Now, that's okay if it's free financing. Like if you can get 0% on a car, go buy the car. Because they're financing it for you.
Right, yeah.
Now, chances are it's a little bit higher than what you can make with a percentage, but you can work those details out. So, I forget where I was going with that. Oh, yeah. So managing your money.
Yeah.
So if you can finance at a low rate and then still put your money in a rate that you're getting higher interest, then you're paying off that debt, but you're still making money. So for example, go get a car at 1.9% rate. Don't pay the cash off with it. Keep your cash in the bank and get 4% so that you're still saving that 2.5% or whatever that difference is, because you're still earning that money. Like, don't take your money out of savings to buy something that you can finance for less than what you're getting in income.
Yeah. Oh, so many things to think about. Yeah, that's one thing. Yeah, that's the one thing I've been trying to train myself to just figure out is like, I mean, my car should be paid off by next year, hopefully, which is nice. So I want to deal with that unless I don't have to get anything. But yeah, I mean, I'm also a person. I don't know if you think it's smart. I'm one of those people that I don't like being in debt. So I like pay off my bills like every month.
So do you have a credit card that gets you cash back?
I don't know. There we go. That's a great question.
You need to find a credit card that gives you cash back on the thing that you buy the most with your credit card, because then you always get a discount with the things you're buying. But also, I will say, if you don't have the money to buy it with cash, don't put it on your credit card.
Okay, very naive first grader question when it comes to all this.
It's not naive.
When people are like, okay, does your credit card do cash back? What does that mean? Like, what do you mean when you say that? Like, so when I pay something, I'm going to get money back?
So, like, discover the car. I have a couple cards. I have a Capital One credit card, and it gives me, well, first of all, I only signed up for that because it was giving me $300 if I put $500 in the next 2 months on it. So I was like, I'm down. I'll put $500. They don't know I'm a person that pays off my credit card every month, so I'm gonna do that. And then I got $300 from Capital One for signing up. Yeah. Which, if you want to sign up for the same card, which gives you cash back, I'll be glad to send you a referral, because then I'll get another 100, and I think you get 200. So. Wow.
Okay.
And then all you have to do is.
How does that go? Just on your checkings account, or does it go on your credit card? Do you get
it goes on your credit card, and then you just set it up on. What I always recommend is set your credit card up on auto pay. Only use it for the things you have the actual cash for. Yeah. Because if you're never in debt, you will never be miserable at a job that you hate, that you can't walk away from. Yeah. The only good debt, in my opinion, and I disagree with Dave Ramsey on this, is a house, because you can deduct the mortgage, you can deduct the real estate taxes. And who in their right mind today, starting out as a 20-something-year-old, has $500,000 to buy a house? Nobody.
Yeah. That's extreme. Yeah.
But I mean, that's what houses are kind of going for right now. Yeah. So unless you can buy a fixer-upper like Aiden and Ashton did, which is great. But you know,
is that here in Delaware? They're moving?
Yeah, they're going to be in Arundel, the same development as Sam.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's awesome. Yeah. Okay.
So that's what I would say. Never buy unless you have the cash. Yeah. Try to live on half of everything you make. I know sometimes it's not easy. It's easier said than done. But if you do a budget, and like I said, the budget doesn't have to be, like, if you love going out to brunch once a week and that's the thing that you enjoy, then put that in your budget. If you like to go to, I don't know, Marshall's and buy an outfit every week, put that in your budget. You don't budgeting doesn't, everybody's so scared of budgeting because they think they have to give up stuff. You don't necessarily have to give up stuff. You just have to be smarter about the things that you truly love. You know, like if you think about it, like if your house was burning down, what's the thing you're going to run out with?
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of how you want to think about a budget. Yeah. If you don't have any money, what do you still want to have money to do? What can you live without?
Right.
And you'd be surprised what you can live without.
It's such a big discipline thing. And I think another thing that's important too, it's helped me and Jazzy personally, is like we've actually gave ourselves little finance meetings. Like just recently, she's so good at this. She organizes everything in a doc, and she's like, okay, what are you paying for? What am I paying for? And because we were trying to get stuff ready for the future, we'll see. But we're going through all that, and it made me realize, like, I'm paying for a lot of stuff like monthly that I actually don't care about. It's one of those stupid Rocket Money ads. Like, still like, hey, we're paying for Rocket Money, but we just did it ourselves and manually. And I think it's important too to actually like sit down, give yourself a meeting, or give yourself with someone else a finance meeting, and to really talk about it. Because I think it's one thing, you know, just kind of thinking about stuff like that, but like really put it in action. Sit down, write it out, and like you said, budgeting. I think you put it in good ways, because I think I overthink it myself. Is budgeting, like just do it. Like if you figure it out, like there's a lot of things. For me, I think my biggest flaw is eating out. That's the number one issue. Like when I see my credit card bills, it's just you went to like Bertucci's, Cheesecake Factory, and it's because I'm too popular, Dawn. That's just what I'm just gonna.
You know, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Not
I'm sure you go through it too. It's like we're always getting invited places.
I'm never getting invited anywhere. I'm always home.
Well, we're always spending a lot of money, but yeah, no, I think at the end of the day, it is just about budgeting and really taking discipline. But a lot of good little nuggets there. Yeah.
Yeah. The first step for anybody to budget is go through your monthly bank statement and actually write down what you're spending your money on, because a lot of people don't even realize. And to your point, some people don't even know they're still paying for a membership that they're not even using.
No, yeah, I was like, oh.
So that's like the first thing where you can cut your budget.
Yeah.
And then once you realize, like you said, you're always eating out, but so I'm at the point in my life where I don't need to accumulate anything else, right? But I want experiences. Like I want us to go on family vacations. So like I just met with my financial guy on Monday or Tuesday. And I said, hey, this is what Doug and I want to do. We're saving for retirement now, but we also want to plan like an annual trip where we take the kids and hopefully in the future grandkids like to a country or to another state or, and foot the bill for them so that they don't have to. Like that's what we want to do because we want to have time. Because the thing is, you get older, what you don't have is time to create memories, right? So that's where I'm at in my life now. So it's not about the things, because we have our house, we have the car we need, we're close to being debt free to pay off the house. So
yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
that's exciting.
But it took a long time because we had Doug's student loan and all the things.
Yeah.
And the other thing I would say is if you're going to have kids and when you get married, start a 529 plan for them.
A 529 plan?
Yeah, it's like an education retirement. It's like a retirement plan, but it's like an education. So you can save money for the child to go to college, but also that can stay. If you don't use it for college, they can use the money in retirement.
Cool.
So
oh wow, that's
cool. It's kind of a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
So start that right away. That's something that Doug and I also didn't do with Aiden. But again, I'm preaching to the choir, so to speak, I guess it's called,
It's okay.
Learn
My parents didn't set me up with anything either.
Learn from my experience, do as I say, not as I do, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of
that's so
where
funny.
we're at,
The lady in my HR said that yesterday. Same thing. So yeah,
she must be my age.
But no, hey, lots of great little nuggets there. We're gonna pretty much wrap it up. Thank you for the knowledge on the finances. Hopefully, a lot of people are taking. I'm taking a lot of mental notes. I'm gonna listen back to this and tell Jazzy about everything because yeah, a lot of good stuff to take in there. But I think at the end of the day, I mean, especially for all of us in our 20s, we gotta it's one of those I gotta get my stuff together type thing and figure it out. So a lot of scary things, but hey, it's been a blast. Having you on the show.
For having
It's been it's been great. First time.
We didn't get to talk about my 33 first cousins.
Oh, wait, Italian. She's Italian. Wait, we were kind of talking about before. I don't know if we got it on podcast, but you're Italian. You like to make Italian food and stuff like that. 33 first cousins. Are they all in Italy? Or
no, my dad's one of 11.
Oh, wow.
And actually, there were 5 brothers. My grandfather was one of 5. And one had 11, one had 12. One had 14, one had 8.
Oh my gosh.
8 or 5, I think. So we had one reunion one time, and there were lots and lots of people.
In the Italian culture, it's just normal, right? Just to be like, we have 10 plus kids. Yeah, I
mean, I think there's, Catholics.
Yeah.
Usually.
Yeah. You've been to Italy?
No, but that's my dream. My grandfather was from Calabria. That's my dream to go there someday to see.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there you go. One of the experiences for later on. Take you Doug and Aiden. You guys.
Where's your dream vacation place?
Dream vacation place. Oh, funny enough, it might be. It's between Italy and Japan. One of those two. Yeah, I want to go to one of those two places.
Nice.
Brazil, a Spanish country would be fun.
Do you know Spanish?
No, not at all. ¿Cómo estás? ¿Me puedo ir al baño, por favor?
Where's the bathroom?
Where's the bathroom? I had to ask all the time in class.
I had 7 years of Spanish, and I can understand it if you speak slow.
Oh, okay. There you go. Oh, but Italian, though. Do you know?
I do not, but I want to learn Italian before I go.
Yeah. Gotta learn it. Oh, okay. Well, it's okay, because I'm Filipino, and I don't know. Oh, well, you have a best friend who's Filipino, right?
Yeah, I grew up with a girl, Marissa.
I remember you talking about.
Yeah, lots of berry culture.
Yeah.
Culture food for sure.
I remember that's kind of how we bonded at Spam a lot too. I think when I told you I'm like, one of my best friends is Filipino. Mm-hmm. Did she see Spam a lot? Oh, did she come or was she not in Delaware?
I don't know. No, she's in Delaware, but I don't think she did. I think she was busy.
Oh.
Ano ba yan? We have our 40th high school reunion coming up.
Oh, fun.
It's hard to believe. I don't know how 40 years happened.
High school reunions. Wow. My tenure is in 2026. Ooh.
Wow, you're such a baby.
Ooh. I got grays.
You're probably the first guest to ever say you're such a baby.
Such a
You're
baby,
so
yeah.
young.
Every other person's like, he's old. Jazzy was like, you're old. I'm like, no, my gray hairs are wisdom.
Agreed.
And it's experience. It's
Agreed.
wisdom and experience. That's exactly what it is.
The older you get, the wiser you are.
Yes, thank you. And low key, I'm like kind of excited for a salt and pepper. I ain't coloring my hair.
I do want to tell you one thing
Okay.
one little nugget that I learned sitting for the CPA exam.
Okay.
It's the most important thing I think in life for us all to understand, so that we can learn to speak with one another and debate with one another with cordiality. And that is that the more knowledge that I gained, I realized there's so much more I don't know. And by that I mean I would go in to take one of these CPA tests, and I thought I was so prepared. And I'd sit down and I'd take the test, and I came out and I thought, oh my goodness, did I even study the right topic?
Yeah. That's
So
a great way to put it.
We always have more to learn. And
Yeah.
I just will leave you with that last nugget.
Always more to learn, and just be like like I love that message, because it's like we live in a world where everyone's so opinionated, and we all think we're right. For me, my thing is like, of course I have my opinions, of course I have my beliefs, but at the end of the day, I want to be open-minded to everything still, because I could be wrong on a lot of stuff too. Educate ourselves. Let's learn from each other. I think I love that. That's a big one of the big takeaways from this episode. All the little golden nuggets we had. But again, this has been a blast, Dawn. Thank you for making time out of your day.
I'm just hoping in this competition, when Doug comes back, that you got more nuggets from me than you get from him. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. We'll see. Well, you guys, who knows? Doug, you're invited on. I'll shoot him a message. Santa might be on the way, everybody. Ho, ho, ho. Ooh. Or maybe it'll be a Santa off. Well, he's a really great Santa, because I've been Santa twice for 2 events. Why? I'm like, I already told Jazzy this. I'm like, why did I get? She's like, it's your personality. I'm like, yeah, but a brown Santa, a Filipino Asian Santa.
I mean, doesn't every culture need a Santa?
You're right. You're right. You know, every culture does need a Santa. But yeah, for like 2, maybe 3 events, I've been actually three events. One was actually my choice, because I went to my family events as Santa. And then the other 2, I was asked. They were like, can you be Santa? I'm like, okay.
I really think if you do have Doug on, you need to tell him to bring pictures of all of his Santa suits, because he has a myriad.
I hear Aiden. I think Aiden last time he was here, either it was on air or off air. He was like, he has like, it's just like a Batman cave.
It literally
just different versions.
Literally is, and he just got a new one that's white, and oh my gosh, it's.
Well, he'd have to. You're invited to
fantastic.
come on with an outfit. He needs to come on as Santa, which will be a blast. Maybe you come back on too. Everyone's like, it'll be a blast.
Well, he is Santa. I mean, he's never seen in the same place. Like when I see Santa, I never see Doug. So
there you go. Hey kids, Santa's on the way. Halloween's just about wrapped up. Thanksgiving's, but hey, Santa is just around the corner. So get your wishes ready.
we're already decorated for almost decorated for Christmas and ours.
I love it. No, Christmas is my favorite season.
Pumpkins on the outside, Christmas on the inside.
Guys, what a great episode here with Dawn. Again, thank you again for coming on. It's been a blast. Remember, you can always listen to this podcast on Spotify and Apple. Apple will have the audio. Spotify is going to have the video and the audio. How exciting. And, of course, on YouTube, you can find the whole episode there with things clipped out. We're going to start clipping some stuff out there. And go ahead and follow me on Ethan Hunt Productions on Instagram, where you'll find the reels for the podcast and other content. See my casual life. You will see that I just came from Disney. You will see that I was at a Broadway rave not too long ago. You will see that my birthday's coming up. So, guys, I don't want a PS5 for my birthday. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But yeah, birthday's coming up, November 25th. No big deal. You guys can go ahead and, I'm gonna leave a little Amazon link down below, one of those wedding list things. It's gonna be a birthday list, and you guys, I'm gonna put a lot of things on there, and people buy me things. But yeah, go ahead and check out YouTube and Instagram. Of course, on Instagram, I also have my Ethan Hunt Movie News channel, which, by the time this episode comes out, hopefully it's back and thriving again, because I need to get back to watching movies. But yeah, go ahead and check all those platforms out. We're gonna go ahead and pass it over to Dawn. Anything to promote?
Yes, I can promote my husband, DelawareSanta.com. My son Aiden will be doing a concert at the Grand again in December. You can look at AARP for the details, but I believe it's December 12th. I think that's a Tuesday. If that is, that's when it is. It's free, and it will be awesome. There's a the musicians will be coming from Broadway. So it'll be very exciting. And what I'd like to promote is if you're a security or AV tech, contact Ethan to contact me because we are hiring.
There we go. Yeah, well, networking, we love it. Connections is everything. So you heard it here first. If you are interested in any of that stuff, go ahead and contact me, and I'll make sure that Dawn hears from you.
Awesome.
This has been great. Well, everyone, thanks again for watching. And always remember, this has been Ethan Hahn plus
Dawn Grotto Briggs.
Now we do some fake talking like they do in the talk shows. Oh,
Yeah, great.
oh that's right.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
You gotta use your hands.
Oh, sticky notes. Not even drinking here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh. Ah. And there we go. We did it, Dawn. Wow.